In just a moment, Suspense with Ray Milland.
Say, Harlow Wilcox, do you know what day this is?
Do I know what day this is? Does a dame know what a date is? Does a truck driver know what a spark plug is?
Well,
Why, listen, my Autolite friend. This is the day you plagued me with silly questions when I tell you about Autolite resistor spark plugs, Autolite stay-full batteries, Autolite ignition systems, and 400 other Autolite...
I guess I got you, Harlow. That's not the answer.
Why, Hades, ladies, of course that's not the answer. Here's the answer. This is SP Day, Autolite resistor spark plug day. And furthermore, it's the day before T-Day.
T-Day?
Sure, that's tomorrow, Truckers' Day.
Oh.
The day all the American Trucking Association fellas get together in Washington to chin, chuckle, and chortle over their carefree careers as their trucks cross the continent with no thought of trouble or terrain.
Well, how come?
Well, my friend, I wouldn't say that Autolite spark plugs and stay-full batteries are wholly responsible, but, use your own judgment.
I'll take your word for it, Harlow. Now let's switch to Suspense.
Suspense.
Autolite and its 60,000 dealers and service stations bring you radio's outstanding theater of thrills. Starring tonight, Mr. Ray Milland in Anton Leader's production of Night Cry by William L. Stewart. A tale well calculated to keep you in suspense.
Report to the captain of the Homicide Bureau, Manhattan. From Detective Lieutenant Mark Deglin. You know, we always say that the cat waits for the mouse to run, the dog waits for the cat to run, and the police wait for the killer to run. But if he's a smart killer, a real smart guy, if he doesn't run at all, but just stands and laughs, or even walks quietly and easily away, he can really get away with murder. There's a lot of murder around Homicide Squad besides the stiffs we work on. Like the knifing I got when they passed me up and made you, Lieutenant Knight, an acting captain and head of the squad. Funny how a little promotion goes to a guy's head. It was Friday that you got your promotion, and that evening, after you'd sent for me, I had to warm a chair outside until you were ready to see me. Remember?
Captain Knight will see you now, Lieutenant.
Well, that's sweet of him.
Come on over and have a chair, Deglin. Mark?
Sure. Why not? Congratulations, Captain Knight.
That's one of the things I wanted to talk to you about, Mark. You know, I didn't want this. I didn't do anything to get it.
Sure. Of course, playing golf with the commissioner's brother-in-law had nothing to do with it.
You know it didn't, Mark. The force isn't run that way. Now, look, I've worked with you for a long time, and there's no reason why we can't get along fine.
Sure, no reason.
I'm the first to say that you're the best man on Homicide, Mark. And, well, it's not my place to tell you, but I think you ought to know the reason why you didn't get the promotion instead of me.
I'm listening.
You know, Mark, the police department has come a long way from what it used to be. Now, take Homicide. It's no longer a question of one man going out and sapping some poor devil until he gets a confession. All of us, detectives, identification, lab men, telegraph, the medical examiner's office, we're all one big team.
You know, that sounds like the commissioner's number 2 speech for the Rotarians.
But it's true, Mark. And that's why the police board didn't give you this job. In an age of cooperation, you're still a one-man force.
How many killers did I bring in during the last 5 years?
Every one you went after. I know that, and so does the police board. But a lot of them had marks on them that they didn't have before you went after them. And some of them had to be carried in.
Sure, but I got them, and quick. Some of them I even had booked before that team you mentioned got around to deciding what killed the victim.
I know that, but there's always a chance that the next time you'll bring in some guy who had nothing to do with it. Yes? He's on his way. It's a call. Now, you and Riley will take it. Now, look, Mark.
Yeah?
Riley's a good teammate for you. He's proud of the force, you know, and he'll be just as proud of your work as his own. And we'll talk about this later.
Sure. After I bring in another killer. was the killing, Riley?
In the 70s, near Riverside, a gambling joint.
Some guy rolled a 7 the wrong way?
Could be. Mark, I was sorry to hear about
forget about it, Dan. If I'd wanted a desk job, I wouldn't be a cop. I'd rather bring him in than look at him after they're brought in. Come on, let's go. And for a minute, I didn't mind not getting the captaincy. There was something about being on a job, about starting out to look for a killer that beat anything in the world. We got to the big brownstone that was the gambling joint. Riley and I walked up the front stairs through the rain. The patrolman on the door let us in. There were 3 guys in the foyer. One of them was a good-looking guy in a dinner jacket, with a look in his eye that probably came from watching a lot of guys try to make a four the hard way. The second was a patrolman, still writing in his notebook. And the third was a guy on the floor, dead. He was partly on his side, and there was a knife in his back. He was wearing a suit that had cost plenty before he spoiled it by bleeding all over it. The patrolman saluted as we came up.
Corcoran, sir. The doorman called me off the beat. The dead man's name is L.O. Morrison. Mr. Carlstrom here is the owner of the club, and he says...
Save it, Cork, until we ask for it.
Yes, sir.
What do you think, Riley?
He's dead, all right.
Well, take another look at that stiff. He's got a fresh cut over one eye, which he must have gotten before he was killed.
Yeah, you're right. He wouldn't be that bruised if he got it when he was killed.
Well, let's find out how he got it. All right, you.
Yes, Inspector?
Not Inspector, Lieutenant. Lieutenant Deglin.
Oh, yes, I've heard of you, Lieutenant Deglin.
Well, stick around and get some first-hand knowledge. What kind of a joint is this?
Well, this is a private club. The members have their own keys and let themselves.
Oh, a key club, huh?
Yes, that's right.
Who'd the dead man have a fight with?
Well, I don't like to say this, but he had a fight with Colonel Payne. I asked Mr. Payne to leave.
Colonel Payne, isn't that the guy who was a war hero?
Yes, that's right.
War hero, huh? And he's still fighting the war. Well, having a key, he could come back after you threw him out.
Yes, he could have come back.
Was he alone?
No, Miss Morgan Taylor was with him.
Where does Payne live?
Well,
Here's his address book, Lieutenant. Payne is in here.
Thanks. Okay, Dan, you can finish up here. I think I'll look up this war hero.
Mark, don't you think you ought to wait for the medical examiner and the ID boys to arrive?
Why? I don't need the ME to tell me this guy is dead, nor identification to tell me he had a fight with Payne. This murder's tailor-made, and I'm going down and try Payne on for size. There was a short street just off the Hudson River where a lot of artists and dock wallopers lived. There was a dim light in the hall, and I went up the stairs. Light spilled out from under the door that had Payne's name on it, and I knocked.
All right, it's open.
He was sitting on the bed. He had an army kit bag open and partly packed. There was a white bandage over his right eye, and the drawers of the bureau were open.
Now, what do you want?
Little talk. Your name Payne?
Yeah, but you're not anyone I know. Beat it.
We'll get acquainted. This, badge will introduce us.
You know what you can do with that badge.
You know, I almost forgot you were a hero. How long you been here, hero?
Maybe an hour, now go on, get out.
How'd you get to be a hero, Payne? With a knife?
Look, I don't know you or your badge. Now go on, get out.
Yeah, you're a tough little punk, aren't you, hero? Especially tough for a boy who's just killed a man.
What are you talking about?
Where's the dame you were with? Maybe she can tell you about the guy you had a fight with, then went back and killed.
Look, you keep her out of it.
Look, Sonny, you were maybe tough overseas, but back here you're just another meatball. Now talk.
What are you, a tough cop? Well, let's see how tough.
Sure, I'm a tough cop. I hit him 3 times. No more than that. He fell. His head hit the edge of the bed, then he slumped to the floor. His breathing was heavy for a minute, and then it stopped. I stood looking at him, rubbing my knuckles. Then I reached down and felt his wrist. He was dead. Well, it was another trial the taxpayers wouldn't have to pay for. I got up, went to the phone I'd seen in the hall.
Night talking.
Deglin here. Look, I just...
Wait a minute, Mark. Hey, close that door, will you? Now that the case is broken, Mark, they're talking their heads off.
Case is broken?
Yeah, it was Karlstrom. He got panicky and started to run. You know, Riley, when they run, he shoots. He nailed him in the shoulder, and Karlstrom thought he was going to die and confessed. The dead man was into the gambling house for $50,000 and wouldn't pay, so Karlstrom stuck the knife into him. Hello? You still on?
Yeah. I just dropped some change.
Did you find Payne?
I think he's cleared out. Clothes and the bathroom stuff's all gone.
He has. Well, he probably saw something. He didn't want to get mixed up in it. Well, we can always put out an alarm on him. Go home and get some sleep, Mark.
Sure. I'll get some sleep. Well, I hung up, walked back into Payne's room. I looked down at him, thought what a lousy time to make a mistake. Well, there's only one smart way out. I had to bring Candle Payne back to life long enough to be seen taking a run-out powder. I needed some good, reliable witnesses. That way, I could get away with murder.
For Suspense, Autolite is bringing you Mr. Ray Milland in radio's outstanding theater of thrills, Suspense.
How in tarnation do you say so much about Autolite spark plugs in so short a time?
Why, that's easy, Hap. Do you want the high points and the lowdown on these master magicians, these motor marvels, these monuments to Autolite ignition engineers? Well, plug one ear and spark to this.
Well, if I must.
By Cornelius, I'll plug these Autolite resistor spark plugs anytime, any place. Do you want your engine to idle smoothly as a sultan's harem, purr as contentedly as a Persian kitten, run as tirelessly as a perpetual motion machine?
Well,
Then you want Autolite resistor wide gap spark plugs. Why, that wide gap in these new Autolite resistor spark plugs means as much to your car as Donald Duck means to duckdom, Chessie means to catdom, Lassie means to dogdom.
No.
Why, by Cornelius, when you replace your old narrow gap spark plugs with the new Autolite resistor wide gap spark plugs, your car refuses to be satisfied just to run better, save gas, and save dough. With Autolite resistor spark plugs, you cut interference with radio and television reception. That's important, mighty important. And what's more important, you ought to get all your neighbors to march right down with you to buy a set of Autolite resistor spark plugs tomorrow morning. Do it right away, Hap. Don't keep me in suspense.
Okay, Harlow. Here is Suspense.
And now, Autolite brings back to our Hollywood soundstage Mr. Ray Milland as Detective Lieutenant Mark Deglin in Night Cry, a tale well calculated to keep you in suspense.
As I said before, Captain Knight, the cat waits for the mouse to run, the dog waits for the cat to run, and the police wait for the killer to run. Only I wasn't going to run. I stood there and tried to figure how to have Candle Payne seen running away. After that, Payne would be just another guy who gets scared and beat it. And I'd still be Lieutenant Mark Deglin, the guy who didn't make mistakes. It took me a while, in the night and the rain, to do what I had to do. Quite a while. But I finally got to my own apartment. I still had Payne's kit bag with his name stenciled on the side, but I could get rid of that later. I tossed it on the floor behind my desk and went to sleep. When I got to headquarters the next morning, it was late. Payne's disappearance had the DA demanding we find him. Dan Riley was already out trying to trace Payne, and I could just imagine him bulldogging along from one witness to another. And then you said...
Suppose you go up to Connecticut, Mark, and talk to Payne's girl, Morgan Taylor. Just routine.
Just routine? Okay, I'll take care of it. I found where Morgan Taylor lived from the Greenwich post office. It was a low, rambling white house set back from a tree-lined road. The girl who answered my ring had dark hair that came down around her shoulders, and wide gray eyes that were sure and young and lovely.
Yes?
You Miss Morgan Taylor?
Yes, I am.
I'm Lieutenant Mark Deglin of the New York Police.
Oh?
You know where I can find Candle Payne?
Oh, the silly fool. He said something about leaving last night, but I thought he was just being dramatic.
When was this?
Well, I went down to his place with him last night after we left the gambling club. I've been seeing a lot of Ken, but I just couldn't keep on. He was always getting into fights and picking arguments, so I told him I wouldn't see him anymore. That's when he said he'd leave.
And that's the last time you saw him?
Yes.
But there's something else.
Well, yes. It wasn't time for my train yet, so I walked around in the rain. Then I remembered that I had a date to meet Ken in town tonight, and I went back to tell him I wouldn't be there. But he wasn't in his room. I had no idea he'd really left.
You think he might have gone back to the gambling club?
Why do you ask that?
Well, after you left the club last night, a man was killed. The man Payne had a fight with.
And you think he ran away because of that? He might have. Ken was, well, pretty neurotic.
You in love with him?
Oh? I'm very fond of Ken. But that's all, Lieutenant. But I'd hate to think that anything happened to him.
You've no idea where he is now.
If you'll wait a minute, I'll go with you. I was just getting ready to leave myself. He might show up to keep that date with me tonight at Morney's on Bleecker Street. We can wait for him there.
She rode back to New York with me. And after the first few miles, we stopped talking about Kendall Payne and talked about ourselves. She was really a beautiful gal. I kept glancing sideways at her profile. Maybe this case was going to turn out better than I thought. When we hit town, I called you, Captain Knight. Remember? I was doing, not mentioning what nice work it was turning into. And then Morgan and I went on to the restaurant.
Since then, I've just played around, I guess.
I know what you mean. Look, it's past 8, Morgan. What time was Payne supposed to meet you? 7?
Yes. It looks as though I've been stood up.
Well, he must be pretty scared to stand you up. If it were me, I'd risk even a murder rap to keep the date.
Thank you, Mark. Want to take me to dinner?
Well, it's a good thing you asked me. I was just about to put my handcuffs on him so he couldn't get away. I got into headquarters early next day. I just finished calling Morgan to say good morning and make a date for that night. And the desk sergeant said that you wanted to see me. I went in, and Riley was with you.
Well, we got a couple of things on Payne, Mark. We wanted you in on them.
Sure. Dan, that was a nice job on Carlstrom.
He was certainly a scared guy. You know, one thing about killers, they always make a break for it sooner or later.
Yeah, most of them do. What's doing on Payne, Knight?
I'll let Riley tell it. It's his story.
There's nothing much except I talked to a number of people who think they saw him. I got a couple of them outside.
Might as well bring them in, Riley.
Yeah, okay. Morning, Gold.
Sure.
This is Captain Knight and Lieutenant Steglin. Gold. The Gold was a cab driver. He got out of bed to come down and help us.
Hey, sure, Chief. Anything to help you guys out.
Okay. Gold, tell him the story you told me.
Yeah, sure. Like I said, I pick up this fare downtown last night about 1 o'clock. Big guy with a bandage over one eye. He's carrying one of those soldier kit bags, you know. Wanted to go to the station, Grand Central. Was in a bad temper.
Take a look at these pictures. Oh, now, where did I put that other... Oh, here it is.
It might have been either one of these two. They look a little alike. Without the bandage, I couldn't swear which one.
Okay, thanks, Gold. If we need you later, we'll call on you.
Hey, sure. Anytime, Chief. Anytime at all.
Well, pretty close. One of the two was a picture of Payne.
Who was the other one he thought looked like Payne?
An old newspaper picture of you, Mark.
Me?
Yeah. You didn't know I collected all your publicity, did you? It'd been funny if he just identified you.
Yeah. Yeah, very funny. Who's your other witness, Riley?
An old lady who lives in the house across the street from Payne's place. Will you come in now, Miss Meacham? Miss Meacham, this is Captain Knight.
How do you do, Mr.
How do
Meacham?
you do?
This is Lieutenant Steglin. Mrs. Meacham, Mark.
I've seen you, Lieutenant.
You have?
Oh, yes.
Oh, well, maybe it was when I was over to Payne's the other night, huh?
Oh, no, I didn't mean there. In the paper.
Oh.
Your picture's been in the papers a lot.
Yeah, I guess it has.
Mrs. Meacham, Detective Riley tells me that you saw several things the other night, things that puzzled you.
They certainly did puzzle me, Captain.
You see quite a few things in the neighborhood, Mrs. Meacham?
Well, some say that's all I do. Well, I say when a body gets old like me, there ain't much left but looking.
Of course. Now, what did you see the other night, Mrs. Meacham?
Let's see. Oh, that was night before last. Well, like I told Mr. Riley, I couldn't sleep. So I was up late, and I saw Mr. Payne and his girl go in. But I didn't see her come out.
You didn't see her come out?
I made tea. Might have missed her. I have to have my tea, you know. But I did see her go back in later.
How much later?
Oh, maybe half an hour, or maybe more. But before she came back, somebody else left.
Oh, that must have been Payne.
Well, I don't rightly know. He was wearing a bandage and was carrying his kit bag, but he didn't wave to me.
Didn't wave to you?
Oh, Mr. Payne always waved to me when he went out. So it was mighty funny he didn't that time.
Oh, maybe he just forgot. What happened after that?
No, sir, he never forgot to wave. Oh, well, anyway, about 20 minutes later, Mr. Payne's girl came back. She stayed just a little while and then went away.
That's very interesting, Mrs. Meacham. Is that all?
Of course it is. And that was a lot for a neighborhood where nothing ever happened.
Well, thank you very much, Mrs. Meacham. We'll call you if we need to talk to you again.
Well, I won't remember any more than I have.
Well, let's go, boys.
Where are we going?
I've been behind this desk so long, Mark, I'm getting calluses. I'm going over to Payne's room with you and Riley.
The room was as I remembered it, except there wasn't any body on the floor and the police technicians were there.
Now, let's see now. The old lady says she saw the girl come in twice, but never saw her go out. Any other way out of here, Riley?
Through the window.
Let's take a look. You men through with this window?
Yeah, all through, Captain. Found plenty of prints of some guy, probably this Payne. A few prints of a small man or woman.
Let's look at this window.
I stood watching. You weren't going to find anything looking out of the window. Maybe they'd see the pry marks in the wood and find the saturates were missing. But that wouldn't mean a thing. Suddenly, Riley let go of the window and...
Hey, watch it! It almost took my fingers off.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Hey, Al, the sash cords have been cut and the sash weights are missing.
So what? I see what you mean, Dan. The river's near here, isn't it?
That's what I was thinking.
Okay. We'll call the harbor patrol and see what we get.
So Riley had finally bulldogged into something. The walk down to the river was short. Shorter than the last time, it seemed. The police tug was stirring the mud of the river bottom with its grappling hook. When Payne's body finally came up, the dirty water cascaded from the blanket shroud and the sash weights dripped in mud.
Well, that's that, boys. Payne didn't run away at all. Somebody killed him. I think we can wrap this one up fast.
How'd you figure that, Knight?
Now, it's easy, Mark. The girl had a fight with him. She's the only one seen going in the other night. Her prints are on the window. She probably killed him, dressed up in his clothes, made it look like he was leaving, then came back and dumped the body. It's the girl, all right.
But listen, this Taylor girl couldn't carry a big guy like that.
Couldn't she? She was in the ambulance service overseas, Mark, and carried soldiers around. Civilians aren't any heavier. I'm putting out a pickup on the girl.
Well, that's the way it was. I had an out, but it was the one out I didn't want. I didn't want the chair getting Morgan Taylor. Not when I wanted her. I'd have to fix it some way. I had to go home and think. Well, I hadn't been there long when... Morgan stood in the doorway. Her eyes tired and frightened. Her face white. She went past me without speaking and over to a chair. When she looked at me, I knew I was right. I had to find some way to save her.
Mark, I just heard. They want me for the murder of Ken.
I know, honey. Well, why did you come here?
Why? Why, because... Where else would I go, Mark?
But you're not forgetting that I'm a cop, too.
If you want to take me in, Mark, I'll understand.
I only want to take you one place, Morgan. And that's not headquarters. But I've got to take you in.
Whatever you say, Mark.
But I'll get you out, honey. You won't be in there long enough to remember even what it looks like. After they booked her at headquarters, I went back to the apartment. I had to figure out some way to save her and myself. But first I had to get rid of that kit bag. If she'd seen it, everything would have been ruined. Besides, it was stupid to leave it around. Then I had an idea. There was one way out. That was to write this report to you, Captain Knight, and get out of the country. Then, when she was freed, she could join me. She was worth running for. Only wouldn't really be running. I was walking away. Well, that's that. So long, Captain Knight. I won't be seeing you. I picked up the kit bag with Payne's name on the side, went down the steps.
Hello, Mark.
Riley, what?
I think I got a lead on the girl, and I thought you'd want to be in on the kill.
But I got her, Dan. I just turned her in.
What? Well, where'd you find it? What's the bag?
Oh, nothing, Dan, nothing.
Handle Payne. Mark.
Look, I found it.
Where?
In his apartment.
I was there yesterday, and we were all there today.
Look, what's the matter? You think I'm lying?
I don't know, Mark. Say, what time were you at Payne's the other night?
Look, Dan, I got something to do. Look, we'll talk about this case later, huh?
Wait a minute, Mark. That cab driver picked out your picture as well as Payne's. The old lady said she'd seen you. Maybe they knew what they were talking about.
Listen.
You weren't surprised when we found those sash weights gone, or even when you saw Payne's body dragged out of the river. Oh, there's nothing worse than a cop who's turned bad. Mark.
Get out of my way, Dan.
Hey, Mark.
I had to run. Everything had been crowding in all day. That cab driver, the old lady, the kit bag, and now Riley. Pushing in like a bulldog with his questions. I had to run and keep running. I had to get away before he could ask another question.
Mark, don't run, Mark.
Don't!
You shouldn't have run, Mark. You know what happens when a guy runs. Thank you, Ray Milland, for a splendid performance. Mr. Milland will return in just a moment.
Say, Harlow, what about Autolite's,
What about Autolite resistor spark plugs, stay full batteries, ignition systems, and over 400 other automotive, aviation, and marine products?
Yeah.
Oh, let's save it for next week, Hap, while we salute the safest, surest, sanest drivers under the sun. And by Cornelius, I didn't say under the sod. That's the truck drivers of America, Hap. Dependable as a donut is dunkable, as a resistor spark plug is sparkable, as an Autolite product is superbable. Say, these wonderful truckers have got me wound upable. I'm delighted. I'm Autolighted. By Cornelius, I'm excited.
Harlow, before these good friends have been good-nighted, remember...
Autolite means spark plugs.
Ignition-engineered resistor spark plugs.
Autolite means batteries.
Stay full batteries.
Autolite means ignition system.
The lifeline of your car.
And now here again is Mr. Ray Milland.
It has been such a pleasure to appear here tonight with this great cast of suspense actors, and I'm expecting almost as much pleasure from listening next week when radio's outstanding theater of thrills brings you Lucille Ball in A Little Piece of Rope, another gripping study in
Suspense.
Ray Milland may currently be seen in the Hal Wallace production So Evil, My Love. Tonight's suspense play was adapted from the novel of William L. Stewart, Night Cry, which will shortly be made into a motion picture. The music was composed by Lucien Moraweck and conducted by Lud Gluskin. The entire production was under the direction of Anton M. Leader. In the coming weeks, Suspense will present such stars as William Powell, Agnes Moorehead, John Garfield, Edmund O'Brien, and many others. Make it a point to listen each Thursday to Suspense, radio's outstanding theater of thrills. And next Thursday, same time, hear Lucille Ball in A Little Piece of Rope.
This is the Autolite Suspense Show. Drive as if your life depends on it. It does. Good night. Switch to Autolite.
This is CBS, the Columbia Broadcasting System. In just a moment, Suspense with Lucille Ball.
Hi, Harlow.
Well, look who's here. Say, it's mighty nice of you to be sitting around all week just to hear me tell more about Autolite.
Oh, I haven't been waiting around all week. Why, I was way up in Oregon.
Oh, that's swell. That's swell. Hey, Hap, do you know the real story about Autolite Stay Full batteries?
Well, sure, I know the real story about Autolite Stay Full batteries.
Needs water only 3 times a year in normal car use. What a battery. Stay full, that is. Why, by Cornelius, an Autolite Stay Full battery has more liquid reserve than a centipede has legs, than an ocean has waves, than a rabbit has, well, rabbits. Water, whales spout it, geysers gush it, people drink it, but Autolite Stay Full batteries carry good old Aquapura so long and so well, they take a drink about as often as you have a birthday, a wedding anniversary, and a New Year's celebration. Only 3 times a year in normal car use. And let me tell you something else. You'd better get an Autolite Stay Full battery before...
Before you go on some more, Harlow, let's listen to Suspense.
Suspense. Autolite and its 60,000 dealers and service stations bring you radio's outstanding theater of thrills. Starring tonight, Miss Lucille Ball in Anton Leader's production of A Little Piece of Rope. A tale well calculated to keep you in suspense.
They said I'd never make good here in Hollywood. Everywhere I went, it was the same story. Sure, they'd see me, but the minute they took a look at my baby face, all I'd get was advice and excuses. No job. My last try was for a schoolgirl part. I was too baby-faced to even land that one. I was walking home, still wearing the school uniform that I'd bought to help me get the part, when I got the idea. Then I remembered another thing. It was years ago, reading an old copy of the Police Gazette in Grandpa's attic. Printed about 1880, I guess. With their falsely youthful faces, dressed as innocent schoolgirls, these vicious females haunt the vicinity of select young ladies' seminaries. And with their airs of artless girlhood, they entice and trap unwary gentlemen. Some from the best of families. It was funny then. But now, well, those gals were suckers. I take the exclusive gents for all they've got and give absolutely nothing. That's how I made good in Hollywood, up to $1,000 a month good. I just take a little walk. I've got uniforms for all the best schools, and I still have the baby face. So help me, lots of those kids look older than I do. When school's out, I let some old wolf pick me up. They always want to park up in the hills or some other lonely place. I drop my compact. He bends over to pick it up. I let him have it with a special little blackjack I carry. Then I leave, taking their wallets and any letters I find. You'd be surprised at some of the letters some of them do have. Makes a dandy bank balance now and then. Them? Remember, I pick 'em old enough to have families, dignified jobs. Would they want to admit to chasing Bobby Soxers? They never squawk. My landlady thinks I'm the ideal tenant. Oh, she's no trouble at all, the poor little thing. Infantile, you know. Has to take long walks every day and rest the rest of the time. Never any fun or dates like other pretty girls. Well, lucky she can afford it, I say. Be a county ward otherwise. And so sweet and quiet, uncomplaining, poor little soul. Yes, Mrs. Tilford is a swell character witness. Of course, I always wear a coat over those uniforms near home, and I keep them locked up just in case she snoops. Yes, I've got a nice career in Hollywood. That is, I did have till last month.
You going out in this cold, Isabel?
Oh, this is a good heavy coat.
Well, don't you overdo now.
These walks are just what the doctor ordered.
Anyway, you sure look healthy enough.
Oh, thank heaven for that. Anything I can pick up for you on the way back?
Oh, no, thanks, dearie. I got everything done. Goodbye now.
Bye. I was dressed for Miss Cadwaller's school this time, and it was just letting out when I got there. I didn't have long to wait. You know, you get so you can tell by the way the cars move along the street if the guy's on the prowl. This one was driving a big black coupe, and he was a little younger than I liked, about 40, but you can't be too fussy. I stepped off the curb, pretending to look for a bus.
Waiting for the bus?
Why, yes, I am.
Which one?
The Bel Air bus.
Oh, I say, that's a shame.
Why?
I just passed it back there. Broken axle.
Oh.
You know, I think I've seen you passing my house. What street do you live on?
Cameron.
Oh, sure. I'm just over on Bender. Hop in, I'll take you home.
Oh, well, you're a neighbor. I guess it's... Gee, thanks, Mr.
Rice. Alex Rice. Insurance.
How do you do?
Like school?
I hate it. School's no fun. I'd like...
What?
Oh, excitement, danger. I suppose you think I'm pretty silly.
No, I think you're the kind of girl who'll get excitement and danger.
Really?
Yes, really. Look, it's so early yet. You'd like to take the long way through the hills? Pretty there now.
Oh, yes, I'd love to. I think the hills are divine. Isn't it just out of this world?
Yes, indeed. What's the initial on your bag for?
The initial?
Yeah. Irma?
Oh.
Inez? Ingeborg?
Oh, Ingeborg. You made that up.
No, it's Swedish. Imogene?
No, Irene. Irene Taylor.
A pretty name for a pretty girl.
I'll bet.
You have beautiful hair and eyes and a beautiful throat.
Well, throat.
Irene, you're very
exciting. Oh, Mr. Rice, I dropped my compact.
You don't need it.
But it might get stepped on.
You won't need it.
But I want it now.
I know. Don't yell so. Here, I'll get it for you. Oh!
Character, huh? Well, here, roll back a little. There. Well, what do you know? Rope. Now, why would a guy carry a piece of rope in his inside breast pocket? Nice wallet. Well, goodbye, Mr. Rice, and thanks for everything. Back home, I showered and changed and settled down to see what was in this wallet worth keeping. Only about $50. What made it so thick was a lot of newspaper clippings. Oh, no, it can't be. But it was. Those clippings were all about the strangler who'd murdered 5 girls in the last year.
left them in the hills with a piece of rope around their necks and never a clue. And Alexander Rice carried his press notices. Alexander Rice carried a little piece of rope in his inside breast pocket, picked up girls, drove into the hills. And Alexander Rice wasn't his name. No, his driver's license said Benjamin Carney. I had picked up and slugged the Strangler. My latest sucker was the most dangerous man in the country.
Suspense, Autolite is bringing you Miss Lucille Ball in radio's outstanding theater of thrills, Suspense.
Say there, neighbor. I didn't get going very well on those Autolite Stay Full batteries.
Now, look here, Harlow Wilcox.
Never mind. I'm right back in there pitching. See if I could only tell you about every one of those 400 Autolite automotive, aviation, and marine products. Well, that takes real breath, lots of breath. And while I'm not as short on taking breath as an Autolite Stay Full battery is on taking a drink, not by a jug full, even I just haven't got enough breath for that.
Well, if you just stop talking so much...
I can sure wind up and sound off on those Autolite Stay Full batteries, though. Making camels look like topers is just the beginning with them. They've got oversized electrical capacity plus fiberglass insulation. You know what that means, my friend?
Well, sure, I know what that means.
It means you should find out for yourself how long these batteries are bound to live. You'd have to hibernate like Rip Van Winkle. I guess you could at that if you had an Autolite Stay Full battery in your car.
I've got an Autolite.
By the way those Autolite engineers designed that Autolite Stay Full battery is so darned ingenious by Cornelius that you could pay as little attention to your Autolite Stay Full battery as Rip Van Winkle did to old Father Time. Go down to your Autolite dealer and get one right away. There's no better buy in batteries, my boy, because no better batteries be behind the byline of Barlow Wilcox.
Now, look, Wilcox. Oh, you got bees in my bonnet now. If you'll only pipe down, we'll hear some more of Suspense.
And now, Autolite brings back to a Hollywood soundstage Miss Lucille Ball as Isabel in a little piece of rope. A tale well calculated to keep you in suspense.
At first, I just shivered over my narrow escape. Why, if I hadn't been out to get him, he'd have gotten me. I'd be number 6 in tomorrow's headlines. Then I suddenly realized I was the only one who could identify him. I can't be silent, let him go on killing. I've got to go to the police station and tell them. I started to go out when it occurred to me I couldn't. I didn't dare go to the police and take the chance of exposing my own racket. If that ever came out, and it probably would, San Quentin, here I come. It seems they're a little stuffy about people who carry blackjacks and steal wallets and sell letters. So, instead, I went for a walk. A real one this time, and tried to think. Pretty soon another thought hit me. He knew I could identify him by now. Strangler was no fool. He'd have me figured out and know the kind of place and time to look for me. And he'd certainly be looking for me, to kill me, to shut my mouth forever. I had to find a way to...
City desk, Thompson.
I know who the Strangler is.
Who's this?
I can't tell you that.
Oh, I see. Well, what can you tell me? You know his name?
Benjamin Carney.
Carney?
Carney. 11568 Boydell Street.
Yeah, description?
About 40. 5'9" or 10. 160 pounds. Dark hair, eyes, skin, even features. Not ugly, not handsome. Drives a big black coupe. Late model.
Got it. Any identifying marks? Mustache?
No, nothing.
And how do you know this guy's the Strangler?
I just know. Goodbye.
Hey, wait a minute.
So you can trace the call? There'd been hundreds of phony clues, and he thought mine was another. But surely they'd check that name and address.
All the way home, I had a creepy feeling he was around somewhere, following me, waiting. The evening paper barely mentioned my call, just listed it with several others. Radio wasn't very much better.
The identified woman phoned in a description of the killer as a 40-year-old brunette, medium height and weight, no distinguishing features, driving a new black coupe. Police checks revealed that such a man, with the name she gave, had moved from the address given several months before the first of the Strangler murders, but there is no further trace of him. Investigation continues, but it is believed this is another spite accusation. A Portland, Oregon woman reported the Strangler as the man who entered her hen house last night and...
No use phoning again. I didn't think a letter would help much either, but I tried. Being careful it couldn't be traced to me, and mailed it to a newspaper that night.
Hey, Mike, you going to the courthouse? Take this to O'Shea, will you? Another Strangler letter telling all. Why can't he just strangle letter writers? One more and I'll strangle somebody.
Another failure. The letter wasn't even printed. I was getting jumpy from being cooped up like a prisoner. What if he couldn't find me as long as I stayed home? I was losing money every day I didn't pull my act. I could leave town, but why should I give up this good thing, my perfect setup? I've been doing fine. In another year, I could quit the racket, make friends, invest my money, maybe even get married. But now this had happened. I'd never be safe. Not as long as we both lived. I finally faced it. I have to find him and kill him. This time I put an ad in the personals column. Would he see it? Well, I'd run it till he did. A.K. Rice can book your rope act for mutual profit.
Have immediate out-of-town engagement. Signed, Slugger. Rope act. Mutual profit, huh?
I knew that would get him because it sounded like blackmail. And by pretending to fall for a shakedown, he'd hope to get close enough to kill me. Only it was going to be the other way around. And so our strange correspondence began. He answered right away.
Slugger, interested in offer.
Send details, Box 047M298, Rice. I had him hooked. I didn't lose any time writing. Dear Mr. Rice, I have an invention which I think you'll want for your
rope act. It's expensive, but remember, it's completely silent. And yours exclusively if we agree on terms. Signed, Slugger. Mm-hmm. Completely silent. Delicious. And expensive. Yes, indeed. Slugger, give price
and details of contract. Rice. So close now. I couldn't afford the slightest mistake. Now or... Dear Mr. Rice, 5,000 cash buys complete
assortment of paper and leather goods. Time and place of meeting must be my choice, but decide fast. I must leave town immediately. Signed, Slugger. P.S. You should never have left that snapshot in your wallet. It's awfully good of you. Snapshot? I thought Oh, no. I didn't burn it. So, the little lady's in a jam. Needs money to hide out. And I can help her make her getaway. Oh, I can indeed. Slugger, price okay.
We'll close at your convenience, Rice. I've got him. My plan was as foolproof as I could make it. I packed a suitcase with the kind of clothes I'd hate to be found dead in, and maybe I would be, and told Mrs. Milford I was taking a vacation with friends.
Oh, I'm so glad, dearie. I said to Miss Knight yesterday, that child should have country air. City air just don't do the same for you.
Yes, I know it'll do me good.
And you stay longer if they ask you. Don't worry about me holding the apartment for you.
Well, thanks a lot, Mrs. Tilford. It's certainly nice of you. I have to catch that train now. Goodbye.
Goodbye. Have a nice time now.
I took those awful clothes to the bus depot, changed, washed, and let the soap dry on my face till it was white and shiny and 10 years older. With my hair skinned back tight under an old beret, I saw a stranger in the mirror. Baby face was gone. Good. No one had noticed me, and looking like this, nobody would. Then I walked to another apartment I'd rented by phone last week. It was in a dingy neighborhood. I'm Miss Sproat.
Oh, Miss Sprout, you can move right in. The people left yesterday. Here, this is the key. It's the first door at the head of the stairs.
Fine, I'll go right up.
It ain't clean yet. Them stairs bother me so.
No, I'd really rather do it myself, thank you.
Well, I'll just leave you alone then.
Now I was Miss Annie Sproat, librarian, and I looked as much like Isabel Towns' baby face as an alley cat looks like a Persian. I sat down to write the last letter. Dear Mr. Rice, come to 609 Fitzgilbert Place at 10 p.m.
Friday. And don't try to come near me, or I'll scream my head off. Tap 5 times, come in, and stand right by the door while we make sure neither of us is double-crossing the other. Have the money in an unsealed envelope. I want that traveling money, but I'd rather take a chance on the cops than on you, so follow instructions. Slugger. You fool. You baby-faced fool.
He'd have to make sure the layout was right before he'd dare attack me. And the more precautions I took, the more he'd believe I was on the level. Near the door where he'd stand, I put a chest with a lamp on it. That was my booby trap, that lamp. The room was so dimly lit, he'd have to light my lamp to look at the wallet. And when he pulled the light chain, he'd shoot himself. I had a gun fixed where the bulb should be, and the chain pulled the trigger. It was set to get him in the chest. Heart, if I was lucky. Dead or not, I'd leave him there for the cops, with his wallet and clippings. Pretty cute, huh? And I'd skip out the back way with all that beautiful money, go to depot, become Isabel Towns again, safe and free. I wore gloves all the time I was there, and the suitcase with Isabel Towns' identity in it was ready by the back door. The hours passed like centuries, and the old house creaked like a sick old man in a squeaky bed. Of course, it might be the house, or it might be someone on the stairs. And then it was 10 o'clock. I was standing at the other end of the room, facing the door. The light was very dim. I heard the feet coming up the stairs, or was it just the creaking of the old house? No.
Good evening, Slugger. You see, I'm prompt, Slugger.
Stand where you are.
Certainly.
Did you bring the money?
Yes, indeed. Here. This envelope.
Throw it down in the middle of the room, between us. Go ahead, throw it down. It'll stay there while you examine the leather goods.
You have the wallet here.
Yes.
throw the money. I can't reach it from here, you know. It's quite safe.
All right. There. The wallet. Where is it?
On that chest beside you, by the lamp.
Yeah. Well, thanks, Slugger.
Aren't you going to look to see that everything's there?
Why should I? I trust you. So long, babyface. See you around.
He's gotten away, alive. He must have guessed I'd done something to the lamp. So he was still alive and still dangerous. But at least I had the money, the $5,000. I picked up the envelope and opened it. There was nothing in it but pieces of newspaper cut to the size of bills. Why, you dirty cheat! I ran to the door and opened it. I looked out, but he wasn't in sight. Maybe I could catch him before he got out of the house. Oh, you won't get away with this. I stepped into the hall, and before I could turn, I felt the rope around my neck. His hands were pulling it tight.
Oh, baby. I told you I'd see you around. Didn't I? There you are, baby. You're paid off in full. Now, we'll just go back inside. Let's see. I guess you'll be safe on the floor while we finish our business. Now, I'll take a look at that wallet, baby. You might have held out some of those clippings. I'll just turn on this light. Oh!
Thank you, Lucille Ball, for a splendid performance. Miss Ball will return in just a moment.
Say, Hap, you going back to Oregon?
Well, how long?
It's a nice trip if you can get it with an Autolite Stay Full battery. You know, I'd advise you to get a sign for your thumb saying, any car with Autolite Stay Full batteries can carry me. I forgot my canteen.
But how long?
Of course, you could buy an Autolite Stay Full battery and simply insist that whoever picked you up use your battery. But you couldn't get back to Oregon that way. No, sirree. They'd never let you out of the car just so they could keep that wonderful Autolite Stay Full battery. Let's see. After you got to Oregon, you could go to Washington, Montana, Minnesota, Maine, New York, and
but
Florida.
Harlow, I've been trying to tell you I've got an Autolite Stay Full battery.
Oh, well, then you know that Autolite means battery. Stay Full battery. Autolite means spark plug. Ignition-engineered spark plug. Autolite means ignition system. The lifeline of your car.
And now here again is Miss Lucille Ball.
It's always a great pleasure to appear on Suspense, especially when the part is so unusual and exciting.
That's right, Miss Ball. The part of Isabel tonight was very different from your regular radio role on My Favorite Husband.
Plug?
Why not?
Why not? Something like, listen to Lucille Ball as Liz Cougat on My Favorite Husband every Saturday night.
Over your favorite CBS station. All right?
Wonderful. And I hope all of you will be listening next week when Suspense presents William Powell in a role that's also different from the parts he's been playing lately. He's playing a man who's just stolen $250,000 and then finds out that... But you'll hear about it next Thursday when Suspense brings you Give Me Liberty, another gripping study in...
Suspense.
Lucille Ball may soon be seen in the Paramount production Sorrowful Jones. Barry Kroger was heard tonight in the part of the Strangler. Tonight's suspense play was written by Virginia Cross, with music composed by Lucian Moraweck and conducted by Lud Gluskin. The entire production was under the direction of Anton M. Leader. In the coming weeks, Suspense will present such stars as John Garfield, Margaret O'Brien, Sidney Greenstreet, Agnes Moorehead, Edmund O'Brien, and many others. Make it a point to listen each Thursday to Suspense, radio's outstanding theater of thrills. And next Thursday, same time, hear William Powell in Give Me Liberty.
This is the Autolite Suspense show. Here's your party, Miss Ball.
We should all support our local community chest in their drives for fun. Money is badly needed for aid to the handicapped, child care, hospitals, clinics, and a host of other humanitarian services. Subscribe to your local community chest. Everybody benefits, everybody gives. Thank you.
This is CBS, the Columbia Broadcasting System.
In just a moment, Suspense with William Powell.
Oh, Hap, here comes Harlow Wilcox.
No, Betty forgets I already have 2 sets of Autolite resistor spark plugs and tries to high-pressure me into buying another one.
Well, hello there, friend.
Mr. Wilcox.
Hello.
Hey, Hap, you look a little worried. Car not running right, maybe?
Why...
Spark plug trouble?
Well, not at all.
Ah, listen, pal. What you need is a set of those sensational new ignition-engineered Autolite resistor spark plugs.
But, Harlow,
Why, the get-up-and-go a spark-weary engine gets from Autolite resistor spark plugs will turn your gloom to glee.
Look, Harlow, I already have...
Why, when you replace your old narrow-gap spark plugs with wide-gap Autolite resistor spark plugs, by Cornelius, you can actually tell the difference in your car. Your engine idles smoother.
Harlow, wait a minute. I'll listen to you and my engine later, but...
Yes, but right now, let's listen to Suspense.
Suspense. Autolite and its 60,000 dealers and service stations bring you radio's outstanding theater of thrills. Starring tonight, William Powell in Anton Leader's production of Give Me Liberty. A tale well calculated to keep you in suspense.
I embezzled $250,000. I want you to know that needed brains, planning, patience. I devoted 3 years of my life to the trick, and I got away with it. $250,000. Of course, they caught me very easily, but they couldn't find the money. So they handcuffed me, brought me back to stand trial. The judge was as big a fool as the others.
7 years is a long time, Mr. French. The insurance company will agree to a much lighter sentence if you will reveal where you've hidden that money.
But I only smiled. So my right wrist was handcuffed to the left wrist of a detective, and they put me aboard a train bound for the penitentiary. I could see that the detective had instructions to soften me up. He was much, much too kind.
You comfortable, Mr. French? You want a magazine? Anything?
Well, I'd like to be able to lift my hand without raising yours into the air. Can't you guard me without being quite so attached to me?
Sure, I guess we can work that out. Now, tell you what. You sit next to the window. I'll kind of box you in. And that way you can wear the cuffs all by yourself and nobody loses.
Thank you.
Let me get my key. There. On for me, on to you.
Wonder if I've made a good change. Feels clumsy.
Oh, you get the hang of it in no time at all. The biggest trouble is when you read a paper. 5 inches of chain don't give you much room to turn a page.
And then I better leave the newspaper for a less constricting occasion. I'll have 7 years for reading.
7 years. And $250,000. Say, how smart does a guy have to be to get his hooks on so much lettuce?
Would you like some of it?
Now, you kidding.
Well, let's make a deal. You drop the key to those things on the floor, and go have yourself a nice lunch.
Sure. And when do I see Mr. French again?
When I meet you to pay off.
Uh-huh. I wouldn't be taking kind of a chance there, would I?
Stupid conversation, and I was only making words. I looked out at the fields and brooks and houses wrecking past. I wouldn't see these things for 7 years, not counting time off for good behavior. But then I'd be free again. And I'd have my $250,000. Not a bad salary, huh? I'd use my brains for myself this time. Suddenly...
Everybody all around into that train on the
You all right? I see the car.
A car lay on its side in flames. And those passengers that could move scrambled through the broken windows, paying no attention to a helpless man in handcuffs.
Frank. Give me a hand.
It was a detective. His legs pinned to the wreckage.
Move, will you? You want to see me roasted?
What can I do with my hands like this? What do you carry the key?
What do you want with a key? You can pull me out by an arm, can't you? You can grab me by the head.
You thick-headed fool, we'll both die here if I can't use my hands.
You can use them good enough.
Where's the key?
I can't find it. French, it ain't in my pocket. Look on the floor.
You're a liar.
Frank, my shoes are on fire. Please.
The only weapon was a suitcase.
Yeah.
I kicked him in the face. I bashed the suitcase on his head. And he didn't have the key. I emptied his pocket down to the last crumb of tobacco. But the fire crept closer. He hadn't the key to the handcuff. And I wanted it. Because this wouldn't be an escape. This would be a disappearance. Oh, what a chance. What a chance. I'd have my liberty. And I'd have my money. I threw away his pistol. I wouldn't need a gun. I used my head. I squeezed my college ring on his finger. I switched wallets.
Is there anybody in that car? He's this way. Over here.
There was a conductor out there. A crowd of passengers. I got to the opposite side of the car. No one. Not a soul. And there wasn't a splinter of glass left in the window. I pushed down the side of the car, cleared the wheels, and struck the ground running. A few moments, a few hundred steps, and I was safe in the dark. I was free. They think I was dead. And I had $250,000.
Suspense, Autolite is bringing you William Powell in radio's outstanding theater of thrills, Suspense.
Hap, my friend, have you ever heard a conversation between two cars?
Two cars? Hello, Wilcox, are you crazy?
Crazy like a fox. Listen, a sorrowful-looking sedan came up to me on the street the other day and said, "Pardon me, pal, but have you got a potent pill for a sput-puttering engine that keeps popping along on poor-firing spark plugs?" Well, this car had sure come to the right man, old ALRSP Wilcox.
ALRSP?
ALRSP for Autolite resistor spark plugs, of course.
Oh.
Well, before I could answer this fumbling four-door, up glides a cute coupe with a mellow murmur and says, "Say, chum, if you want to hum and hustle on the highway, if you want to idle smooth as a satin slipper, if you want better luck with lean gas mixtures, actually save gas, why, switch your narrow gap plugs for a set of those wonderful, sensational wide gap Autolite resistor spark plugs. What's more," continues this chatty convertible, "Autolite resistor spark plugs cut down spark plug interference with radio and television reception. Really, the spark plug of the future. Why, I was talking to a delighted television set.
Wait a minute, Harlow. Now you've got a car talking to a television set.
Why, Cornelius Hap, television sets, cars, and everybody are talking about Autolite resistor spark plugs. And no wonder, because new Autolite resistor spark plugs have a 10,000 ohm resistor, ignition engineered right into the spark plug, and a wider spark gap setting that means smoother idling and gas dollars saved. Autolite resistor spark plugs fit any make and size of car, and don't forget, Autolite resistor spark plugs are backed by the reputation of Autolite and the over 400 automotive, marine, and aviation parts made by the Autolite people. Pipe that.
Okay, but right now, let's pipe Suspense.
And now, Autolite brings back to our Hollywood soundstage
William Powell as Earl French in Give Me Liberty. A tale well calculated to keep you in suspense.
My first job after escaping was to break out of those manacles. I sat in a wheat field, holding my hands overhead so the blood would run through my hands and wrists and leave them slim. It didn't work. I tried that until my shoulders were in agony, and it didn't work. I couldn't snap the chain. I twisted it. I pulled it. Tried to fling my hands apart, and it wouldn't break. I rubbed it against stones until my skin was torn and bleeding, and it wouldn't break. By this time it was morning, and I was pretty desperate. I found a match in my pocket. I went into the woods that bordered the field and built a fire. First the chain grew hot, and then my wrists. But I held them over the fire until I couldn't keep back the scream. And not until then would I believe that I needed help. I pushed through the wheat and the corn beyond it, and I stumbled down a slope into a barnyard.
Down, Jack, down.
A woman was standing near one of the hen houses, a pan of chicken seed in her hand.
What do you want?
There's nothing to say. She'd seen the handcuffs.
Come on, speak up.
Look,
What do you want?
I'm innocent, I swear to you. I'm innocent.
Where you from? How'd you get away?
Well, we were going up to the prison, and there was an accident.
Well, what do you want from me?
Could you lend me a file? And if you could spare some food, I'll be glad to
You
pay
don't
for...
have to pay me for anything. Wait here. Jack, go up.
The fool went into the house, and the dog sat down on its belly and placed its nose between its paws, and its eyes never left my face for an instant. And then through the stillness, I heard the cranking of an old-fashioned wall telephone, and I knew what she was doing. I ran like a whirlwind. I couldn't get them off. I couldn't get the handcuffs off. I couldn't get anything to eat. I couldn't show myself. You know what it means to see food all about you and not be able to buy it? Don't tell me I could have eaten corn and fruit and roots. I can tell you the nature of every dog in that area, and the feel of every barbed wire fence, and the spang and roar of every rifle and shotgun. Crept into a village one night and forced up the window of a hardware store. I wanted a file, just a file. Do you know what they carry in hardware stores these days? Glassware, kitchen gadgets, garden tools, seeds, ovens, rat poisons, dressers. But then I moved behind a counter. The hardware store has to have a file somewhere. And my foot struck a wire, stepped across the floor. How tired have you been? Have you ever been so tired that your eyes felt like stones in your head? So weary that your jaw hung slack and your tongue seemed thick and heavy in your mouth? There were times when I thought I'd die. And on the evening of the fourth day of my liberty, I crawled quietly to the garbage can back of a roadside diner and began to paw about for something I could eat. There was a step behind me. I whirled about. It was a boy. We looked at each other for a long moment. He was waiting for me to speak. I said, "Hello, Sonny.
Hello.
You live in this neighborhood?"
Yeah.
I don't. I'm traveling.
With handcuffs on?
Oh, these? Yeah, a friend put them on me for a joke. Say, that gives me an idea, Sonny. Would you do me a big favor?
Depends upon how big.
Well, big to me, anyway. Sonny, it's worth $10 to be able to have these handcuffs off before my friend shows up. Look, can you get me a file or chop him off with an axe, something like that, so I can have a laugh on him?
No.
Look, I'll let you keep them. They're fun.
Nope.
Oh. Well, then, would you do something else for me?
Depends.
I'm a little embarrassed about going into the lunch wagon like this. Look, would you step in there and buy a few hamburgers for me?
How much?
Same $10.
For a couple of hamburgers?
Why not? Then maybe you'd change your mind about the file.
Let's see the money.
I got it right here in my pocket, ready to jump into your hand. There are lots of things that a boy can buy with $10. Ah, there we are.
How do I know it's good?
Don't you trust me?
Drop it on the ground.
Drop it? Why?
You drop it and back away. Then I'll pick it up.
Oh, hey, that's very smart. How's that? Far enough?
I guess.
He picked it up and began to walk around the diner. But when he was out of reach, he broke into a run. I got away. And I couldn't tear them off. I couldn't. I had $250,000 buried away, and it was worthless to me. Do you know what can be bought with $250,000? Why, a man's soul can be bought for less than $250,000. And I couldn't buy a 10-cent file. I spent that night in a nest of cast-off railway ties attached to a siding. I opened my eyes in the morning. I had company. There was a hobo sitting on the top of my fortress-like bedroom. A very unusual-looking hobo in blue jeans and a navy coat. She was counting my money, smoothing each bill with loving care. She grinned when she saw I was awake.
Good morning, chum. You sleep like an honest man. What's the matter, chum? Never speak till they bring you your orange juice?
Listen, I'm in trouble. I want you to help me.
To get the bracelets off?
Yeah.
Oh, chum, wouldn't that be kind of silly? I might lose all this hard-earned dough.
Look, there's more where that came from. A lot more. I'll make you rich.
Yeah, I heard that one before. So long, chum.
Listen to me. I got $250,000.
Yeah, I get feelings like that, too.
Come back, will you? It's true. Don't you read the papers? I'm Earl French.
I never heard of you. And where would you get that much dough?
Look, go into town and buy one of the newspapers of 6 days ago. That'll tell you.
Tell me what?
Don't people read anymore? Earl French, the embezzler. I stole $250,000.
And you're wearing those things so you won't pick your own pocket.
Don't try to be clever. I died in the train wreck near Scottsville.
Hey, you're so sure about that, chum. You croaked only a few days ago.
No, you fool. They only think I did. Now, you get those newspapers. You come back here with a file and some food.
No, don't order me around, chum. If you're a corpse, I won't take it from you. And if you're not a corpse, I'll poke you in the eye. Just play it easy, huh? Yeah, maybe I'll be back. Could happen.
I waited for her all through that long, blistering day. Crouching within those four walls of railway ties. I lay there like a trapped animal. And yet I knew she'd be back. She couldn't resist it. Cheap little thing like that. I knew she'd be back.
Chum, it seems you were a very important guy in your time.
You saw the papers.
Yeah, and I got good news for you. Mr. French, you're now burnt to a crisp. That's the way they found you in the train.
Recognize me by the ring on my finger?
Yeah. Well, you're dead, all right. You and $250,000.
Well, we'll come to that later. You get to work with the file.
No. You're giving orders again, and I told you I don't like it.
Give me that file.
It's right here in my jeans. And that's where it stays until you lead me to my share of that dough.
Oh, you'll get it. You'll get it.
Chum, listen to Mama. I can pick up 500 fish by turning in an escaped prisoner, or you can dig up that treasure chest and buy this file for half the plunder.
That's 400 miles away.
It's a fair distance.
But I can't ride a train or a bus with these on my wrist.
It's okay, chum. We'll walk.
400 miles?
I've done it before.
We'll be seen.
Not at night.
How'll I eat? Where will he sleep?
You'll sleep in the woods, and I'll bring the grub to you. Me, I'll sleep in town, where I'll be snug and safe. You don't take this file from me, chum. Not till I see my half of that dough. And that's how it was. That same evening, we started a walk. At first, it wasn't so bad. It gave me time to think. And I knew I'd think of something.
You know, there's kind of a sneaky look about you.
What?
You figure that in 400 miles, a lot of things can happen.
Oh, no. After all, I want to do what's fair. We'll split.
If we don't, I'll split your skull, and don't kid yourself that I won't, little chum. Been waiting a long time for a break like this.
We walked, with the handcuffs digging so deep into my flesh that I began to believe they were a part of me. Yeah, she brought me food, but she wouldn't come close enough to hand it to me. And every time I reached for anything, it was torture. My hands and wrists were a mass of misery. And as though her pet animals on a leash, my friend always walked 6 paces behind me. She was too smart. And I realized that I had to get away from her. And soon. And the morning I decided to do it, she found me a shack to hole up in. I could hardly wait for her to leave and go back into town.
Yeah, this shack looks good. I'll meet you back here tonight.
All right. See you tonight.
That's the way I like you, chum. Nice and agreeable.
Why not? Why shouldn't I be? See you tonight, as usual.
Sure there isn't anything special you'd like me to bring you to eat?
No, nothing special.
Uh-huh. Say, chum, I think you'd better turn around.
Why?
It's...
Hey! When I awoke, with a dull ache filling my head, I found myself neatly trussed up. I could move a little, but not enough to get free. Talk about female intuition. She had guessed that I was going to try to get away from her, and she beat me to it. But I didn't give up, though. She'd have to make one mistake. So the next night, we'd stop for a rest.
Hey, friend.
Yeah?
How can you be sure that dough is still there?
It's safe.
How do you know? What kind of a place do you hide it in?
You'll see.
Hey, don't you trust me?
Of course. As much as you trust me. And it's time we stop playing this little game. Now get out that file.
When I see the dough, little chum.
Take them off, will you? How long do you think I'm... Shut up.
You'll wake up the neighbors. On, move.
No.
I said move.
No. That money's mine. And you'll never see it unless I want you to. And we'll go to it the way I say.
Chum, you're making me mad.
You get out that file and take these off. Go on, get it out. I can give orders, too. What do you think you are, an animal trainer?
No, that's not a bad idea.
Is it? But it happens that I'm not an animal. And it happens that... What's that for? You can't frighten me with a knife.
I wouldn't try.
You use that on me, and we both lose out.
Whenever my old man used to teach one of us kids, he always said the same thing. He said, never use a switch thicker in your thumb, breaks the skin, but no bone. A kid can go on working.
A switch?
Yeah, like this one. Nice and green and limber. That's all a knife is for. I wouldn't use a knife on a buddy.
You won't use that either. Put it down.
You know, this is something I wanted to do ever since I found you sleeping in those railroad ties. You going to get up?
No.
This'll hurt.
I'll kill you someday. I swear I'll kill you.
I once had a husband like you. Brave enough outside, but once anybody put on the pressure...
You talk too much. Go on, I'm calling it bluff. I'm sick of hearing you talk.
All right.
sure she'd beat me down altogether because she didn't even bother now to taunt me anymore. She was very quiet after that, and a little careless. I'd stop now and then, and she'd bump into me in the darkness. But she'd always stop gleaming before I could get my hands on her. Well, all things must end. Our pilgrimage ended one morning when I said, "Here it is,
What?
the money.
Where?
We're standing over it."
You up to some sneaky trick again? We're standing in the middle of a highway. You didn't do any digging here, chum.
Look, there's a culvert running under the road here. A 24-inch pipe. Come into the ditch. I'll show you.
You didn't stick that dough into the pipe. Must have washed away.
Not in the pipe. It's in a deep crevice between the pipe and the concrete. Pull out some of those stones.
You pull them out.
What, with these hands? Why, I can't touch anything without screaming. Pull them out.
French, help me if this is a gag.
She believed me. She had to. She saw the truth in my eyes. The money was there, my $250,000. She bent over to tug at the stones. She turned her back to me for the first time. And that was it. That was the mistake I was waiting for. A sign falling across her hand. Down on her head. The back of her neck. Her head. Ah, the pain. The pain I ripped. Ah, but I didn't care. I didn't care. My hands. Covered with blood. Her blood. Mine. She was dead. But I couldn't move. My hands. My poor hands. I had to wait until the shock drained out of them. Finally, I reached into her pocket for the file. It isn't there. It must be in this one. No. No file. She hasn't got a file. She never had one. Ah, the cheat. The dirty little cheat. Come on, little children. Come on, you babies. 250,000 beautiful little babies. Come on. Oh. I can't get hold of it. I need a few pieces. I can't. With these handcuffs on, I need one arm free. You handcuff you. I'll break this chain if I have to rip my hands off. I'll get that money. I must have the money. I want the money. Money. It's my money.
That's the way I found him, Chief, sitting in the ditch beside a dead girl and babbling like an idiot.
Thank you, William Paul, for a splendid performance. Mr. Paul returns in just a moment.
Well, Hap, my friend, now... Harlow, I've been trying to tell you I already have 2 complete sets of Autolite resistor spark plugs.
Congratulations. Everyone should have a complete set of Autolite resistor spark plugs. Those modern miracles of Autolite ignition engineers, those monuments to tireless Autolite research. So, friends, why not drive down to your nearest Autolite dealer early tomorrow, and get your car a set of Autolite resistor spark plugs. They're sensational. And not because I said so either, but because they really are. Autolite means spark plugs.
Ignition-engineered resistor spark plugs.
Autolite means batteries.
Stay full batteries.
Autolite means ignition systems.
The lifeline of your car.
And now here again is William Powell.
My thanks to the fine cast of Suspense actors who helped to make my appearance here so pleasant an experience. I'm a regular listener to radio's outstanding theater of thrills, and I'll be tuned in next time to hear John Garfield in Death Sentence, another gripping study in
Suspense.
William Powell appeared by arrangement with Metro-Goldwyn-Mayer Studios, producers of the Technicolor production The Three Musketeers, starring Lana Turner, Gene Kelly, June Allison, and Van Heflin. Tonight's suspense play was written by Herb Meadow, with music composed by Lucien Morawek and conducted by Lud Gluskin. Ann Morrison played the part of the hobo. The entire production was under the direction of Anton M. Leader.
This is the Autolite Suspense Show. Subscribe to your local community chest. Everybody benefits. Everybody gives. Good night.
This is CBS, the Columbia Broadcasting System.
Shoots. He nailed him in the shoulder, and Carlston thought he was going to die and confessed. The dead man was into the gambling house for $50,000 and wouldn't pay, so Carlston stuck the knife into him. Hello? You still on?
Yeah. I just dropped some change.
Did you find Payne?
I think he's cleared out. Clothes and the bathroom stuff's all gone.
He has. Well, he probably saw something. He didn't want to get mixed up in it. Well, we can always put out an alarm on him. Go home and get some sleep, Mark.
Sure. I'll get some sleep. While I hung up, walked back into Payne's room. I looked down at him. Thought what a lousy time to make a mistake. Well, there was only one smart way out. I had to bring Candle Payne back to life long enough to be seen taking a run-out powder. I needed some good, reliable witnesses. That way, I could get away with murder.
For Suspense, Autolite is bringing you Mr. Ray Milland in radio's outstanding theater of thrills, Suspense.
How in tarnation do you say so much about Autolite spark plugs in so short a time?
Why, that's easy, Hap. Do you want the high points and the lowdown on these master magicians, these motor marvels, these monuments to Autolite ignition engineers? Well, plug one ear and spark to this.
Well, if I must.
By Cornelius, I'll plug these Autolite resistor spark plugs anytime, any place. Do you want your engine to idle smoothly as a sultan's harem, purr as contentedly as a Persian kitten, run as tirelessly as a perpetual motion machine?
Well,
Then you want Autolite resistor wide gap spark plugs. Why, that wide gap in these new Autolite resistor spark plugs means as much to your car as Donald Duck means to duckdom, Chessie means to cat them, Lassie means to dog them.
No.
Why, by Cornelius, when you replace your old narrow gap spark plugs with the new Autolite resistor wide gap spark plugs, your car refuses to be satisfied just to run better, save gas, and save dough. With Autolite resistor spark plugs, you cut interference with radio and television reception. That's important, mighty important. And what's more important, you ought to get all your neighbors to march right down with you to buy a set of Autolite resistor spark plugs tomorrow morning. Do it right away, Hap. Don't keep me in suspense.
Okay, Harlow.
In just a moment, Suspense with Ray Milland.
Say, Harlow Wilcox, do you know what day this is?
Do I know what day this is? Does a dame know what a date is? Does a truck driver know what a spark plug is?
Well,
Why, listen, my Autolite friend. This is the day you plagued me with silly questions when I tell you about Autolite resistor spark plugs, Autolite stay full batteries, Autolite ignition systems, and 400 other Autolite...
I guess I got you, Harlow. That's not the answer.
Why, Hades, ladies, of course that's not the answer. Here's the answer. This is SP Day, Autolite resistor spark plug day. And furthermore, it's the day before T-Day.
T-Day?
Sure, that's tomorrow, Trucker's Day.
Oh.
the day all the American Trucking Association fellows get together in Washington to chin, chuckle, and chortle over their carefree careers as their trucks cross the continent with no thought of trouble or terrain.
Well, how come?
Well, my friend, I wouldn't say that Autolite spark plugs and stay-full batteries are wholly responsible, but, use your own judgment.
I'll take your word for it, Harlow. Now let's switch to Suspense.
Suspense. Autolite and its 60,000 dealers and service stations bring you radio's outstanding theater of thrills. Starring tonight, Mr. Ray Milland in Anton Leader's production of Night Cry by William L. Stewart. A tale well calculated to keep you in suspense.
Report to the captain of the Homicide Bureau, Manhattan. From Detective Lieutenant Mark Deglin. You know, we always say that the cat waits for the mouse to run, the dog waits for the cat to run, and the police wait for the killer to run. But if he's a smart killer, a real smart guy, if he doesn't run at all but just stands and laughs, or even walks quietly and easily away, he can really get away with murder. There's a lot of murder around Homicide Squad beside the stiffs we work on. Like the knifing I got when they passed me up and made you, Lieutenant Knight, an acting captain and head of the squad. Funny how a little promotion goes to a guy's head. It was Friday that you got your promotion, and that evening, after you'd sent for me, I had to warm a chair outside until you were ready to see me. Remember?
Captain Knight will see you now, Lieutenant.
Well, that's sweet of him.
Come on over and have a chair, Deglin. Mark?
Sure. Why not? Congratulations, Captain Knight.
That's one of the things I wanted to talk to you about, Mark. You know, I didn't want this. I didn't do anything to get it.
Sure. Of course, playing golf with the commissioner's brother-in-law had nothing to do with it.
You know it didn't, Mark. The force isn't run that way. Now, look, I've worked with you for a long time, and there's no reason why we can't get along fine.
Sure, no reason.
I'm the first to say that you're the best man on Homicide, Mark. And, well, it's not my place to tell you, but I think you ought to know the reason why you didn't get the promotion instead of me.
I'm listening.
You know, Mark, the police department has come a long way from what it used to be. Now, take homicide. It's no longer a question of one man going out and sapping some poor devil until he gets a confession. All of us, detectives, identification, lab men, telegraph, the medical examiner's office, we're all one big team.
You know, that sounds like the commissioner's number 2 speech for the Rotarians.
But it's true, Mark. And that's why the police board didn't give you this job. In an age of cooperation, you're still a one-man force.
How many killers did I bring in during the last 5 years?
Every one you went after. I know that, and so does the police board. But a lot of them had marks on them that they didn't have before you went after them. And some of them had to be carried in.
Sure, but I got them, and quick. Some of them I even had booked before that team you mentioned got around to deciding what killed the victims.
I know that, but there's always a chance that the next time you'll bring in some guy who had nothing to do with it. Yes? He's on his way. It's a call. Now, you and Riley will take it. Now, look, Mark.
Yeah?
Riley's a good teammate for you. He's proud of the force, you know, and he'll be just as proud of your work as his own. And we'll talk about this later.
Sure. After I bring in another killer. Where's the killer identification to tell me he had a fight with Payne? This murder's tailor-made, and I'm going down and try Payne on for size. There was a short street just off the Hudson River where a lot of artists and duck wallopers lived. There was a dim light in the hall, and I went up the stairs. Light spilled out from under the door that had Payne's name on it, and I knocked.
All right, it's open.
He was sitting on the bed. He had an army kit bag open and partly packed. There was a white bandage over his right eye. The drawers of the bureau were open.
Now, what do you want?
Little talk. Your name Payne?
Yeah. But you're not anyone I know. Beat it.
We'll get acquainted. This, badge will introduce us.
You know what you can do with that badge.
You know, I almost forgot you were a hero. How long you been here, hero?
Maybe an hour. Now, go on. Get out.
How'd you get to be a hero, Payne? With a knife?
Look. I don't know you or your badge. Now, go on. Get out.
Yeah, you're a tough little punk, aren't you, hero? Especially tough for a boy who's just killed a man.
What are you talking about?
Where's the dame you were with? Maybe she can tell you about the guy you had a fight with, then went back and killed.
Look, you keep her out of it.
Look, Sonny, you were maybe tough overseas, but back here you're just another meatball. Now talk.
What are you, a tough cop? Well, let's see how tough.
Sure, I'm a tough cop. I hit him 3 times. No more than that. He fell. His head hit in the edge of the bed, then he slumped to the floor. His breathing was heavy for a minute, and then it stopped. I stood looking at him, rubbing my knuckles. Then I reached down and felt his wrist. He was dead. Well, it was another trial the taxpayers wouldn't have to pay for. I got up, went to the phone I'd seen in the hall.
Night talking.
Deglin here. Look, I just...
Wait a minute, Mark. Hey, close that door, will you? Now that the case is broken, Mark, they're talking their heads off.
Case is broken?
Yeah, it was Carlstrom. He got panicky and started to run. You know, Riley, when they run...
Riley?
In the 70s, near Riverside, gambling joint.
Some guy rolled a 7 the wrong way?
Could be. Mark, I was sorry to hear about
forget about it, Dan. If I'd wanted a desk job, I wouldn't be a cop. I'd rather bring him in than look at him after they're brought in. Come on, let's go. And for a minute, I didn't mind not getting the captaincy. There was something about being on a job, about starting out to look for a killer that beat anything in the world. We got to the big brownstone that was the gambling joint. Riley and I walked up the front stairs through the rain. The patrolman on the door let us in. There were 3 guys in the foyer. One of them was a good-looking guy in a dinner jacket, with a look in his eye that probably came from watching a lot of guys try to make a 4 the hard way. The second was a patrolman, still writing in his notebook. And the third was a guy on the floor, dead. He was partly on his side, and there was a knife in his back. He was wearing a suit that had cost plenty before he spoiled it by bleeding all over it. The patrolman saluted as we came up.
Corcoran, sir. The doorman called me off the beat. The dead man's name is L.O. Morrison. Mr. Carlstrom here is the owner of the club, and he says...
Save it, Corcoran, until we ask for it.
Yes, sir.
What do you think, Riley?
He's dead, all right.
Well, take another look at that stiff. He's got a fresh cut over one eye, which he must have gotten before he was killed.
Yeah, you're right. He wouldn't be that bruised if he got it when he was killed.
Well, let's find out how he got it. All right, you.
Yes, Inspector?
Not Inspector, Lieutenant. Lieutenant Deglin.
Oh, yes, I've heard of you, Lieutenant Deglin.
Well, stick around and get some first-hand knowledge. What kind of a joint is this?
Well, this is a private club. The members have their own keys and let themselves.
Oh, a key club, huh?
Yes, that's right.
Who'd the dead man have a fight with?
Well, I don't like to say this, but he had a fight with Colonel Payne. I asked Mr. Payne to leave.
Colonel Payne, isn't that the guy who was a war hero?
Yes, that's right.
War hero, huh? And he's still fighting the war. Well, having a key could come back after you threw him out.
Yes, he could have come back.
Was he alone?
No, Miss Morgan Taylor was with him.
Where does Payne live?
Well,
here's his address book, Lieutenant. Payne is in here.
Thanks. Okay, Dan, you can finish up here. I think I'll look up this war hero.
Mark, don't you think you ought to wait for the medical examiner and the ID boys to arrive?
Why? I don't need the ME to tell me this guy is dead.